world lived under the shadow of total annihilation after World War II ended. The world hoped for peace, but a new and frightening conflict quietly began. This conflict was called the Cold War, and it was fought without traditional battlefields or constant gunfire. Instead of armies clashing, fear itself became the strongest weapon used by powerful nations. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, each determined to shape the future world. They had been allies during the war, but their political beliefs were deeply different and incompatible. America believed in democracy and capitalism, while the Soviet Union followed communism and strict state control. These differences created suspicion, distrust, and a growing sense that conflict was unavoidable. The Cold War was called cold because the two sides never fought directly on a large scale. However, both sides fought indirectly through spies, propaganda, technology, and proxy wars across the globe. The most terrifying part of this rivalry was the development of nuclear weapons. The atomic bomb dropped on Japan had already shown the world unimaginable destruction. Now both superpowers raced to build even bigger and more powerful nuclear bombs. This competition became known as the nuclear arms race. Each new weapon increased fear, not only between governments, but among ordinary people. Cities practiced emergency drills, children hid under school desks, and families built underground shelters. People lived with the constant thought that the world could end in minutes. The idea of mutual assured destruction ruled global strategy. This meant that if one side launched nuclear weapons, the other would respond immediately. Both nations understood that nuclear war would destroy everyone, including the attacker. Ironically, this fear helped prevent nuclear war from actually happening. Still, the threat was always present, like a shadow hanging over humanity. In 1962, the world came closer to nuclear war than ever before. This moment was called the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just miles from American cities. When the United States discovered this, panic spread through the government and the public. President John F. Kennedy faced an impossible decision that could determine humanity's future. For 13 days, the world watched anxiously as tensions rose. Warships surrounded Cuba, and nuclear forces were placed on high alert. People feared that one mistake could end civilization. At the last moment, both sides stepped back from disaster. The missiles were removed, and nuclear war was avoided. This crisis showed how close fear had brought the world to destruction. Afterward, leaders slowly realized that communication was necessary for survival. Hotlines were created so presidents could speak directly during emergencies. Treaties were signed to limit nuclear testing and weapons growth. Despite these efforts, the Cold War continued for decades. Spies worked in shadows, stealing secrets and spreading misinformation. Movies, television, and newspapers were used to shape public opinion. Athletes even competed in the Olympics as symbols of national superiority. Wars in Korea and Vietnam became battlegrounds for Cold War influence. Millions suffered in these conflicts, even though superpowers avoided direct confrontation. Fear of nuclear war remained a daily reality. Sirens, drills, and warnings became normal parts of life. Artists, writers, and musicians expressed anxiety through their work. Children grew up imagining mushroom clouds instead of peaceful futures. In the 1980s, tensions rose again as nuclear stockpiles reached terrifying levels. Some missiles were powerful enough to destroy entire countries in seconds. People around the world protested, demanding peace and disarmament. Gradually, change began inside the Soviet Union. Economic struggles and public dissatisfaction weakened its grip on power. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, symbolizing the collapse of division. Soon after, the Soviet Union itself dissolved. The Cold War officially ended without a nuclear explosion. Humanity had survived its most dangerous standoff. Yet the fear left deep scars that remain even today. Nuclear weapons still exist, and their power is unchanged. The Cold War taught the world a painful lesson about fear and responsibility. It showed that technology without wisdom can threaten all life. It also proved that dialogue can be stronger than destruction. The story of nuclear fear is a reminder that peace is fragile. History warns us that survival depends on cooperation, not domination.